Across the vast Mesopotamian sands, where the sun paints the dunes in hues of crimson and gold, an ancient empire once stood in absolute, unrivaled, and legendary glory. A solitary traveler navigates the shifting horizon, moving toward a silhouette that whispers of a lost world, where history began its most ambitious and powerful early human chapter. Deep beneath the scorched earth of modern-day Iraq lie the foundations of a city that redefined human potential, a place where dreams were etched into solid stone. Watch as the dust of time settles, and the mighty walls of Babylon rise once more from the parched soil, regaining their former stature and imposing architectural majesty. Babylon was a city of unimaginable wealth, where gold flowed like water, and the air was thick with the scent of rare spices and boundless royal ambition. Every artifact recovered tells a story of exquisite craftsmanship, reflecting a society that valued beauty and art as much as it valued conquest and supreme imperial power. This was the crown jewel of the ancient world, a beacon of civilization that shone brightly across the fertile plains of the great and historic Mesopotamian riverlands. More than just a capital, Babylon became the ultimate symbol of human intellect, a testament to what mankind could achieve when reaching for the very stars themselves. Behold the magnificent Ishtar Gate, a towering entrance of brilliant blue glazed bricks that greeted every traveler with the overwhelming weight of imperial Babylonian pride and power. The deep lapis lazuli hue of the tiles sparkles under the midday sun, creating a visual masterpiece that served as a grand threshold to the divine and holy realm. Upon these sacred walls, the mythical Suresh dragon stands guard, its golden form shimmering against the azure backdrop, warning all who enter of the king's divine might. Powerful bulls, symbols of strength and fertility, march alongside the dragons, guiding the faithful and the fearful alike toward the heart of this legendary and holy city. Step onto the procession way, a grand boulevard lined with towering walls where the rhythmic sound of marching boots once echoed through the corridors of time itself. Elite Babylonian guards stand at attention, their bronze spears gleaming, their eyes fixed forward as they protect the sanctity of this most prestigious and royal thoroughfare. The clatter of shields and the glint of sharpened metal remind us that this beauty was protected by one of the most formidable armies in all human history. Citizens dressed in fine linens and vibrant silks move through the streets, their lives intertwined with the pulse of a city that never seemed to sleep or rest. The air is filled with the sounds of commerce, as traders from distant lands bargain for precious gems, exotic fabrics, and the finest Babylonian grain and pottery. King Nebuchadnezzar II built this gate not just for defense but as an eternal monument to his own name, ensuring his legacy would outlast the long ages. As we pass through the shadows of the massive archway, the true scale of the city begins to unfold, revealing a metropolis of unparalleled and grand architectural wonder. The play of light on the glazed surfaces creates an ethereal glow, making the city feel like a celestial palace brought down to the dusty earth below us. Inscribed in the stone are the king's boasts, it claiming to have made Babylon as beautiful as the heavens, a claim that seems undeniable even to this day. From this vantage point, the city stretches out in every direction, a grid of mud brick homes and grand temples that once housed hundreds of thousands of souls. But in the center of it all, one structure rose higher than the rest, a mountain of brick that sought to pierce the very veil of heaven itself. Dominating the skyline was the Etemenanki, the Great Ziggurat, a massive tiered temple that served as the physical and spiritual center of the entire Babylonian and cosmic universe. Gaze upward at the 7 levels of the tower, each receding into the sky, creating a staircase for the gods to descend and meet their mortal subjects below. Priests and scholars ascended these heights daily, leaving the noise of the streets behind to find peace and divine inspiration among the high clouds and the wind. Legend calls this the Tower of Babel, a site of linguistic confusion, but for the Babylonians, it was the ultimate achievement of architectural and ancient engineering genius. Within the upper chambers, the world's first astronomers mapped the heavens, using copper instruments to track the movements of planets and stars with incredible, precise scientific accuracy. Their observations laid the groundwork for modern science, as they decoded the secrets of the cosmos from the highest point in the known and civilized ancient world. These early scientists believed the stars dictated the fate of empires, and from this tower, they watched the destiny of Babylon unfold in the deep night sky. At the summit sat the sanctuary of Marduk, plated in pure gold, where the patron god of the city was said to reside in silent and holy majesty. When the first light of dawn hit the golden temple, the tower would glow like a second sun, visible for miles across the flat Mesopotamian landscape below. Master builders huddled over clay tablets, calculating the stress and weight of millions of bricks, proving that Babylonian mathematics was centuries ahead of its time and peers. Thousands of laborers dedicated their lives to this construction, moved by a shared vision of greatness that transcended individual lives and spanned many long, difficult human generations. From the pinnacle, the Euphrates River looks like a silver thread, winding through the city and providing the lifeblood for this massive and thriving desert civilization and people. Hear the echoes of 1,000 tongues. Babylon was a melting pot of cultures, a place where the entire world met to share ideas and trade goods. As night falls, beacons are lit atop the ziggurat, acting as a lighthouse for travelers and a signal that the light of knowledge never truly fades away. Yet, amidst the hard stone and sun-baked bricks, there existed a miracle of soft leaves and flowing water, a paradise built especially for a beloved foreign queen. Rising like a lush mountain from the desert floor, the hanging gardens of Babylon appeared as a green mirage, defying the laws of nature and the heat. Terrace upon terrace of vibrant flora cascaded down the stone walls, creating a multi-layered forest that breathed life into the heart of the stone-built and crowded city. Flowers from the ends of the earth bloomed here, their petals dripping with dew and their scents filling the air with a sweet, intoxicating, and floral perfume. Small waterfalls tumbled over the edges of the balconies, cooling the air and creating a serene soundtrack of splashing water that masked the city's chaotic and loud noise. Hidden paths wound through the dense foliage, where ancient ivy clung to majestic stone pillars, turning architectural structures into living, breathing works of botanical and natural art. But how did they water this mountain? Hidden within the stone were complex chain pumps and bronze pipes, a marvel of ancient hydraulic and mechanical irrigation engineering. A continuous chain of buckets lifted water from the Euphrates, carrying it hundreds of feet into the air to feed the thirsty roots of this artificial paradise. Gravity then did the rest, distributing the life-giving liquid through a network of intricate channels that reached every single leaf and every blooming flower in the garden. Queen Amytis walked these paths, seeking comfort from the homesickness of her mountainous homeland, finding solace in the shade of the trees her husband had planted. King Nebuchadnezzar II watched from afar, proud that his love for his queen had resulted in one of the 7 wonders of the world, a true masterpiece. Brightly colored birds nested in the branches, their songs adding to the magical atmosphere of a place that felt more like a dream than a physical reality. Dappled sunlight danced on the garden floor, creating patterns of gold and green that shifted with the breeze, offering a peaceful retreat for the royal family. As evening approached, a gentle mist would rise from the plants, cooling the palace and making the entire garden look like it was floating on the clouds. Statues of gods and heroes stood silent guard among the trees, their marble features softened by the creeping vines and the passage of many seasons of growth. The contrast was jarring. An emerald jewel set against a backdrop of endless brown sand, a testament to man's ability to conquer his harsh desert environment. Ripe fruits hung heavy from the branches, free for the taking in this paradise on earth, where hunger was forgotten and only beauty and abundance remained. Under the silver light of the moon, the gardens took on a mystical quality, a place where the lines between the natural world and human artifice blurred. But even the most beautiful gardens can wither, and even the strongest walls can crumble when the tides of history begin to turn against an empire. The sky darkens over Babylon as the era of its supremacy draws to a close, and the shadow of foreign armies begins to loom on the horizon. Flames lick at the blue tiles of the Ishtar Gate, and the sound of celebration is replaced by the harsh clashing of bronze swords and heavy shields. Torches fall into the dry straw of the markets, and the smoke of a dying empire rises to choke the stars that the astronomers once studied intently. The once proud citizens flee the carnage, leaving behind the treasures and the temples that had defined their lives for centuries as the city finally falls. Great statues of the kings are pulled from their pedestals, crashing into the dust as the memory of their power begins to fade into the annals of time. Decades turn into centuries, and the silence of the desert returns to claim its own, as the wind begins to pile sand against the abandoned, crumbling walls. The glazed tiles crack and peel, their vibrant blues lost to the sun, while the great ziggurat slowly melts back into the earth from which it was born. Today, only a few sun-bleached ruins remain, scattered across the Iraqi landscape like the bones of a fallen giant, waiting for the curious to find their story. Modern explorers brush away the dirt of ages, uncovering the remnants of a glory that was once thought to be nothing more than a myth or legend. The empty corridors of the palace now echo only with the sound of the wind, a haunting reminder of the transience of human power and earthly vanity. The desert is a patient conqueror, slowly burying the secrets of Babylon beneath layers of silt and time, hiding the truth of its final, tragic, and lonely days. In our minds, the city sinks into the depths of history, and becoming a phantom of the past, a ghost that haunts the collective memory of the human race. The Euphrates River continues its eternal flow, its dark waters hiding the secrets of what lies beneath the mud and the reeds of the ancient riverbed today. Deep in the river's silt, could there be fragments of the Hanging Gardens, or do they lie elsewhere, waiting for a discovery that may never actually come? The moon reflects on the rippling surface, a silent witness to the rise and fall of countless civilizations that have lived and died along these historic shores. The greatest question remains: did the Hanging Gardens ever truly exist? Or were they merely a poetic metaphor for a civilization's longing for its lost green paradise? For a brief moment, we see the gardens again, shimmering in the heat haze of the desert, a beautiful dream that refuses to die in our imagination. We look to the same stars the Babylonians watched, searching for a connection to our past and an understanding of the legacy they left for us all. Babylon remains a mystery, a golden city lost to time, a reminder that even the most brilliant lights eventually fade, leaving only the echoes of greatness.